Imagine being God. Fellow atheists can imagine being me since we don't believe in meditation or the addictive properties of caffeine. Now imagine wanting to end social and economic inequality all over the world. The last time you tried it, you created Stalin and Arnab Goswami. And then you take a look at the history of social inequality and the events that leveled that inequality. Around the 5th century CE, at the height of the Roman Empire, when the wealthiest ruler was as removed from the common man as religion is from logic, the bubonic plague came along. The disease killed more workers than their news feeds could handle, and the price of labor soared, while the price of land, now abundant and bereft of cultivators, plummeted, leaving the landlords so poor they could afford only one driver. The masses, on the other hand, began to own iPhones and both kidneys. A millennium of raging Roman inequality was undone in prolonged agony, or TV news debates as we call that today. This period is somewhat unfashionably but not entirely misleadingly termed as the Dark Ages, but it is the only thing that was capable of leveling the inequalities. But inequality tended to rise again unless and until this process was reversed by a severe shock. Thus, when the plague subsided at the end of the 8th century, elites once again began to accumulate wealth and power, and the familiar cycle of feeling inspired to quit your job and begin your startup, and then realizing you need money to make money and filling the void by listening to Gary Vaynerchuk instead resumed. Until, exactly like my body fat does 2 days after eating a spoon of rice, the plague returned in the 1340s. Ominously known as the Black Death, it swept through Europe, cutting down 1 in 3 people, and probably more in England and Italy. Sound familiar? Inequality took such a bad hit, elitist observers complained that fur coats, formerly the prerogative of the rich, became widely popular. It's like you and Ranveer Singh are wearing clothes from the same designer. It's infuriating for Mark Zuckerberg's designer. In the 1390s, the English chronicler Henry Knighton sniffed. The workers were so above themselves and so bloody minded that if anyone wished to hire them, he had to submit to their demands, for either his fruit and standing corn would be lost, or he had to pander to the arrogance and greed of the workers. I'll admit, it was pretty obnoxious on the workers' parts to demand a pay that they were actually deserving of. Who did they think they were, feminists? Nevertheless, once again, it was a hard reset of social inequality at the violent hands of God. But once that plague subsided again, humans went back to what they knew best, imagining they were gods. Or if they were atheists, imagining they were me. And since healing by prayer had proven to be more ineffective against diseases than drinking tulsi-infused water and rubbing garlic on your forearm, medical science advanced and the plague failed to come back for a trilogy. So it was up to the economists to solve the problem of inequality. But nothing worked, not even trickle-down economics or hanging a picture of Goddess Lakshmi drawn from memory. But the 2 world wars of the 20th century caused what economists have dubbed the Great Compression, resulting in a massive leveling of inequality. Wartime government intervention and taxes on the highest incomes to fund the war effort ensured a degree of shared sacrifice, and playing fields were beginning to level again. This time, the equality was reset at the violent hands of man. Unfortunately, the effect of the shock of war did wean off, and now it's time for the next hard reset via viral marketing. What else do you expect me to do if you humans refuse to learn anything other than how to bypass your internet service provider's restriction to torrent and porn sites? You force my hand every single time to take drastic, bloody measures that look like destruction in the short term, but are actually your only savior. Just like the tsunami of 2004, which I had to cook up for the destruction of a bioweapon that you created that would have otherwise wiped out an entire civilization. And yet, it was only Kamal Hassan, a devout atheist, who got it right in this avatar. Just make sure that when you make advances in robotics, genetic engineering, and tolerable TV news anchors, they don't become tools of unimaginable inequality again. Or I'll be forced to come back in a far more dramatic fashion than this. Possibly out of a helicopter with background music.